This video isn't going to be very educational. I just want to share an idea that I've been thinking. This is a work in progress, okay? A work in progress. So it doesn't mean this is legit. It doesn't mean that you should listen to me with 100% faith. This is a work in progress idea. So there is a difference. I'm just looking at my notes. There's a difference between the concept and the feeling. For example, I just want to say this to you quick, right? Some people take cocaine and they believe it relaxes them. Cocaine doesn't relax you. It cannot. It makes you fucking jittery. It's an upper, right? Some people will drink to relax themselves. Some people will use cocaine to relax them. It doesn't make sense. Some people will PMO to relax themselves. It doesn't make sense. Sexual arousal is an upper. It's like an upper type of feeling. So how can people believe that the substance is doing something to them when it actually does the opposite? Why doesn't it self-debunk? Now, if you don't know what I mean by self-debunk is basically, let's say for whatever reason, I believe that grass is red, and then I see grass and it's green. I will now believe that grass is green. My belief that grass is red will not persist in light of the evidence. Yet with cocaine, people will take cocaine believing, oh, it relaxes me, and then they won't experience relaxation. Yet they will believe that they will continue to believe that it's relaxing them. Like, what the fuck? I think it's a mental misattribution. I'm just wondering why the fuck it happens. I think it's a mental misattribution of things. So maybe when they take cocaine, it distracts them from negative emotions, and then they believe that's relaxation. And then because they believe it's relaxation, that motivates them. So it's like, the way I thought the belief formation occurred was you experience something and then that automatically will debunk your previous belief, the experience itself. But I'm starting to believe that the experience itself needs to be interpreted in order for it to challenge or prime the belief that you had previously. So it's like, if I see the grass being green, and this is very philosophical and shit, but it's actually really practical. On a side note, I did philosophy at university. I did physics as well. And people always say like, oh, philosophy is like air. It's like airy fairy. Like it doesn't have much practical utility. I think it actually has one of the biggest practical utilities, because when you learn philosophy, you learn how to reason, you learn how to think. That ability will impact every area of your life. You're now no longer just like a shitty reasoning machine. Your reasoning capability in your mind is way higher, and therefore you can navigate life with greater kind of like ability. So I actually think that philosophy, even though it has no genuine practical ability in of itself, it has an indirect impact on your practical, like your own practicality. It's indirect, and just because it's indirect doesn't mean it has no effect. If I knock over one domino and it knocks over 10 million dominoes, which knocks over the final domino, the act of me knocking over the first dominoes has resulted in the final domino being knocked over. It doesn't matter that it's not directly touched it. It's a chain of causation which has led to that effect. Same with learning philosophy. You learn philosophy, you get fucking good at it. That skill in itself can then be utilized with everything. Anyway, that's a massive fucking tangent, but you get what I'm saying. The point is, okay, so back to the point. When you see the green grass, right? Say you believe grass is red, then you see the green grass and you see it to be green. The experience of green isn't what's going to change your belief of red. It's that you have to see the green grass and be like, oh, the grass is green, it's not red, and then you change your belief. It's like the experience doesn't itself change your belief. The experience has to be interpreted through your mind, which makes sense because all experiences have to be interpreted through your mind, which then changes the belief. So what I'm saying is that with the cocaine example, you believe cocaine relaxes you, so you do the cocaine, you don't experience the relaxation, but you do experience you experience that distraction from your other emotions, and then you interpret that distraction as being relaxing, which then reinforces the relaxation belief initially. Get it? So I'm wondering how this applies to PMO, and this is all like speculation. But say you believe, oh, porn is extremely pleasurable, and then you PMO, and you realize, oh, I can't stop. But then you can stop, but you just believe you can't stop because you believe in addiction. That you not being able to stop might reinforce the belief that it's pleasurable. I don't believe that PMO is more pleasurable for one person than it is for another, actually. And I don't believe that it's mentally more pleasurable from one person to another. It's that like you're believing in the concept of pleasure by conflating it with things such as like, let me just find this. Like, say you you experience the excitement and you experience the like heart rush, the penile pleasure, the dick pleasure, the shock emotions, the seek and search. You then have to you experience that. We'll all experience that, right? We'll do that, and then we'll build that pleasure concept. That will build the pleasure concept because we're reasoning it to be that way. Whereas if we are just to look at and that doesn't mean we experience more pleasure. We're just building a construct here, a concept of pleasure. Then when you actually experience the PMO, you realize it's not that pleasurable. You're mindful about it. You can then deconstruct that concept of pleasure. That doesn't mean you're going to experience less pleasure. It just means you're getting rid of the concept. And it's important because concepts are what motivates us. Beliefs are but when I say concept, I mean belief, right? Same thing. Construct, belief, concept, I'm referring to the same thing. If we have this construct of pleasure, that's what's going to motivate us to PMO. So then we PMO, you experience this shock, penile pleasure, whatever, and then that reinforces the concept of pleasure. Whereas if we do it mindfully and we're like, oh, it's just this physical sensation, that concept of pleasure starts to break down, and then we're just left with the mild amusement view of PMO. My problem before was that people were coming to me with the question of, oh, if I can experience more pleasure by believing in the pleasure of PMO, if I can experience more pleasure, genuine pleasure, then why wouldn't I? Because I want to experience more pleasure. I want to experience more happiness. I want to experience more positive emotion in the short term. I thought this was quite a good argument. But then, once you consider that you actually don't experience much pleasure, which is controversial, because what isn't controversial is the physical buzz, right? But then it's like we all experience the same physical buzz, but we don't experience the same. We don't all have these. We have different constructs. So really, it's this construct of pleasure. I've always known it's this construct of pleasure that's what's motivating us. But is it real? Like, I don't. How the fuck can one person experience more physical pleasure from porn than another? Doesn't make sense. You can like it more, but that like isn't real. It's based on your beliefs. And does that actually mean that you experience more pleasure, physical pleasure? No. If one person takes more cocaine than another, you're going to feel the same buzz, but one person might think they might like it more, but they don't experience more pleasure. They just believe that they need it more. It's like the gym. Like when you go to the gym, it's the same physical sensation, but one person might like it more, right? Because of the value that they see in it. And so you can change what you see value in. You can change what you like. And you can deconstruct those constructs of this is the best pleasure ever. It can't be the best pleasure ever if you're just experiencing the same physical buzz. Think about it. If you're experiencing the same physical buzz, how can it be more pleasure for you than another person? It can't be. It's the same buzz. But when you believe there's a shit ton of pleasure in it, you're going to keep PMOing, you're going to keep PMOing, and you're going to keep experiencing the physical pleasure, which is going to reinforce that construct. You don't experience more pleasure. You just continuing to PMO again and again because of this construct you've created through basically misattribution. And that doesn't mean that PMO isn't inherently like that doesn't mean that there isn't a physical buzz to PMO. There is, right? Which is why so many people watch PMO. But then you look at the statistics. I'm just like from a brief Google search, I did this a minute ago. Like only 44% of men say they watch porn in the last month, and yet 98% of men have watched porn at least month. 98% of men have watched porn at least once. So what does that say? That says that like people just don't. A lot of guys just don't watch porn, and when you're in the porn site as well, I'm going to make another video about this. Or you're just surrounded by PMOs. So of course this like kind of social effect is going to increase this construct of pleasure that you've got in your mind. Oh, PMO must be this incredibly pleasurable thing. When you hold that, of course you're going to fucking use it. That doesn't mean that you actually experience it, because if you're mindful and you actually experience it, it goes. And you're like, fuck, this is what I'm experiencing. Like, it's tiny. It's like you have this physical pleasure and you stack loads of things on it. A lot of guys will watch porn and just will be like, well, it's all right. I do it every couple of weeks, whatever. Don't give a fuck. They're like, I watch porn like every week, whatever. Just, whatever. It's just this casual thing. What differentiates that guy, which is what most guys are, to no fappers? No fappers having this relapse 6-hour fucking tranny porn binge. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, get like guys watching gay porn and shit. Like, what the fuck? I think that it's all beliefs. It's all beliefs. There's no way you experience more pleasure. Okay, it's the same thing. It's the same drug. It's a construct. That's the point of this vid. It's long as shit. I'm rambly as fuck. I don't care. That's it.